It's Rocio, Community Manager with Life by You, and I'm here to walk you through some more of the Character Creator. You might remember from the art stream a couple of weeks back, but we walked through the face edits, now we're here for the body. So here in the overall menu, you'll find that you can change the body type as well as the body composition. Body type, you can switch between masculine and feminine. Let me go ahead and undo that. Now let's go to the body composition sliders. They're all pretty self-explanatory. Height affects height, weight affects weight. You might have noticed that we have humans of varying heights, but let's go ahead and put her to right in the middle of the slider so we have a good starting point. Side note, I have put this human in their underwear so this is easier to see, but you can do this fully clothed, of course. Now let me show you the muscle sliders real quick. Again, pretty self-explanatory, but it's good to see the range. Now let me reset those back to what they were, and let's move on to the torso section with some more sliders. Here we have 4 categories under the torso, including the chest, breast, shoulders, and stomach. Starting with the chest, that basically determines the upper half of the torso, including the rib cage area. Here you can see the sliders determine how large that rib cage is. You can go to extremes on either end of the sliders to create a really unique look. For this example, I'm going to keep it pretty middle of the slider. And of course, these all affect each other, so as you increase the torso size, that might affect the size of the breasts or the shoulders, or how they all look in relation to each other. For breasts, we have different options, including their size, their spread, and their tilt, essentially up or down. And for any of these, you can rotate your human to make sure that you're getting the look that you're going for from all angles. And that's pretty much it for the breasts. Moving on to shoulders, here you have the size, width, and slope. So similar to the chest, you can determine the overall size, the width of them, and in this case, the angle of the shoulders. Here I'm just playing around with the sliders for a bit so you can get an overall sense of what you can accomplish with them, and maybe you can start to think about what kind of humans you're hoping to design. Now let's move on to the final part of the torso, which is the stomach. Here, let me start from the side view so I can show you the depth. Like you might expect, it just determines how far or how inward the stomach goes. Turning back around, you can see how width determines how wide or narrow this particular part of the torso is, similar to the chest. Up and down pairs really well with the size, so let me go ahead and adjust that so you can see what's happening, but basically up and down determines where the stomach sits along the body. Now let's return back to center once again and move on to the hips. In hips, we have 2 categories. We have the hips themselves and the buttocks. Like some of the other body parts, size determines the overall size, and here width actually determines more of the width of the hip bone. So you can kind of play around with both to achieve the look of the hips that you're trying to get to. And now for the buttocks, which is hard to say, so I'm going to go ahead and stick to butt. Here you have a similar set of sliders to the stomach, so you can determine the size, depth, and where the butt sits on the body. And this is what the butt looks like in underwear, but you could also always put on clothing to see what the butt might look like with jeans versus with a skirt. That way you can tailor the booty size to whatever look you're going for. Now let's move on to the arms. Arms are split up into 3 categories: upper, lower, and the hands. For the upper and lower arms, you can adjust the length of that section as well as the width. So I'm just going to play around with these sliders a bit again so you can get a feel for what it looks like. Finally, for this section, we have the hands, and this slider just determines the overall size. For our last body section, let's move on to the legs. You'll see that this looks really similar to the arms. Again, you can determine the length and width of both the upper and lower sections. Let me play around with the sliders some so you can see what it looks like. And of course, a disclaimer here that this is all in progress stuff. We're just really excited to bring you along this journey with us. We're continuing to fine-tune all of this, including bug fixes and polishing up animations, so thanks for joining us on the journey. And finally, for this section are the feet, which, like the hands, just determines the overall size of the feet. And that's pretty much it for the body features. So let's go back out to the main, and I'm going to walk you through a couple more things that we didn't have a chance to go over in our art stream. Let's head on over to skin and look at the possible skin tones. Much like everything else in Life by You, we really want you to have the option to create whoever you want to create. And that includes having the color wheel as an option within the skin tone area. That being said, we do have a wide variety of presets, and we're adding/editing these leading up to early access. So if you don't want to have the entire color wheel at your disposal, you can go ahead and pick one of the presets. And we did show this during the art stream, but we do have some preset skin textures as well as both wrinkles and glossiness that you can adjust. Now, I've been mentioning this all video, but it also is important to see what clothing looks like on top of the body that you create. I like to use one of these two dresses, either the crisscross mini or the utility midi skirt dress. I'm going to head back to main, head back to the body, and mess around to see what it looks like with this outfit on. Cut to the montage of me adjusting the sliders here and giving this person some more unique features and kind of making them my own. As always, thanks so much for watching. This isn't the last you've seen of the character creator. We still have some outfits to show you, as well as traits, likes, dislikes, setting up a starting person, and all of that fun stuff, so stay tuned.